Yeah. Step in the circle, queens rise and glow. We talk truth, let the inner light show. Real ones link, we ain't moving alone. Faith, five, purpose, built in the bone. Mind on mission, heart stay aligned. Sisterhood strong, power redesigned. Checking in weekly, spirit refined. We break through the noise, wisdom divine. Hey,
Sisterhood check-ins happen to light. God in the light, though, we fight the good fight.
No mask, no shame, come as you are. From broken to bold, yeah, we're raising the bar.
Sisterhood check-ins happen to light. This ain't just talk, we walk with the word.
Faith in motion, fly like a bird. Every episode is spark, get back on your feet. Lett, clarity, power, purpose, peace. Chains fall down and the cycle cease. Every queen tuned in, know you belong. You're chosen, equipped, and spiritually strong. Sisterhood checking, vibe don't lie. Built from the pain, but we rise so high. In the middle, we fight the good fight, no mask.
Check-ins happen to light. God in the light, now we fight the good fight.
No mask, no shame, come as you are. From broken to bold.
Welcome to Sisterhood Check-In. I'm your author and coach, Nadira Lewis, and it is Friday. Woo! I am excited, guys, because every time I have a guest on Sisterhood Check-In, I just get the jitters. I get excited because though I like doing Sisterhood Check-In and I like talking, but man, it is amazing when you have a guest here with you. So I am excited. I cannot wait to be able to dialogue with my guest today. So make sure you call up your girlfriends and tell them Sisterhood Check-In is on the air. And also, we're going to go over some housekeeping rules before we go ahead and continue on the show. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video. If you are watching me on Sisterhood Check-In Podcast.com, which is our app that I recently created, or if you're watching us on any of the other platforms, make sure you click like and share if you are blessed by the content that Sisterhood Check-In brings each and every week. I'm excited. I hope you guys had an amazing week. We're going to go ahead and play this video. When we get back, the next person you're going to see is my special guest, Lett, the founder and owner of Let's Talk Podcast. She's also an author and a businesswoman. So I'll see you after this. We are living in a time where true wisdom is rare. We have all kinds of opinions, voices pulling us in different kinds of directions. But where is the clarity? Where is the counsel from the Lord? Wisdom is not just about making good decisions. It's about becoming the woman that God trusts with those decisions. Wisdom keeps you rooted. The Word of God tells us in Proverbs chapter 20, verse 5, that though good advice lies within the heart, deep within the heart, a man with understanding will draw it out. Join the Wisdom Academy, where you'll not only experience change, but you'll be stretched and most of all, transformed by the Word of God. All right, we are back here on Sisterhood Check-In, and I'm excited, ladies and gentlemen, because let me tell you, I feel like we are kindred in so many different ways, and she's one of my skate buddies at the skating ring, her and her husband, and we just have such an amazing time. I really am excited, and I cannot wait to learn about who she is, outside of the skating ring, and find out all the wonderful things that she has done. So before I introduce you, I'm going to go over her bio, because you're going to see just when I read her bio, it's nothing that's going to be compared to her showing up. She is a beautiful young woman, beautiful inside and out. So let me just go ahead and get right in, because I'll just get to talking, and then next thing you know, 10, 15 minutes, and I only have her for an hour. So we're going to make this hour work. So Lett originally is from Vallejo, California. She completed her high school, undergrad, and graduate studies in Michigan before embarking on a successful 28-year career in corporate America. Now retired, she has made Atlanta, Georgia, her home for over 2 decades. A devoted Christian, wife, and proud mother of 2 adult children, Dre leads a vibrant life filled with creativity and community. She finds joy in reading, writing novels, serving through her sorority, and reliving the rhythm of old school adult roller skating. Hello. Her favorite escape is relaxing on a nearby beach with family and friends. As a 5-star rated author, Dree has penned 5 acclaimed novels available on Amazon, each showcasing her gift for storytelling and emotional depth. Come on now, Dree. That's what I'm talking about. She also hosts the podcast Let's Talk, and where she amplifies voices, shares insight, and continues to inspire, inform, and navigate. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Sisterhood Check-In, Dree Lett. Welcome
Oh,
to
thank
Sisterhood
you.
Check-In.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome. Glad to
Well,
be
thank
here.
you. Thank you. It's a pleasure being able to have you here. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation, Dree. I know we don't get to do a whole lot of talking at the skating ring, but I'm always, watching you outside of the rink, and I see you doing so many amazing things. And I believe that you have something that you can contribute to the Sisterhood Check-In community today. So, why don't you help us out by explaining to my community and help me understand, and those that may not know you, how did you become the woman that you are today?
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here on your amazing platform and podcast. Thank you so much. My journey is a unique one.
Mm,
Us as African American women, women in general, we all have been through one thing or another
mhm.
throughout our life. So
Yeah.
in my case, after school, after graduating from college, the first company that I went to work for, the only company pretty much at that point that I went to work for was General Motors. Spent a great career with there as a district manager, moved around 5 different times.
Mhm.
And, after moving around and jumping through hoops in corporate America, I said, I want to retire at a young age, believe it or not. I knew my benefits wouldn't kick in, but I stepped out on faith. I
Mm.
prayed heavenly for weeks and weeks, saying, Lord, all the signs are telling me that this is what you have for me. And I prayed on it and I stepped out and they said, "Are you crazy? You're retired. You're not even 50 yet." And I said, "Yeah, this is what I want to do." So when I retired, I jumped out there and my brother, he is a comedian and he said, "Let's do a podcast." And I said,
Mm.
"Huh?" And I said, "Well, okay." And so he was supposed to be the funny guy, the head guy, and I was just going to sit there and, chime in with him from time to time.
Yeah.
But it was through faith, I believe, that the world opened up and he was able to go on and get bookings for his stand-up comedian. And so the audience was like, "Why don't you continue on with this?" Right? We'd only
Mm.
done one show together. I prayed on it and I said, "Okay." But I wanted to be different, Nadira. I wanted to do something different because, there's so many podcasts out there, but there's
Mm.
different, there are not that many out there like yours and mine that
Yeah.
inspire, motivate, encourage. There's all kind of stuff out there. So I said, that's what I want to do. I had already written 5 books. And I said, it's another way to get my books out there, which are worldly books, but yet they bring you back into the whole meaning of God and living right, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I started Let's Talk literally from my kitchen counter with maybe 2 viewers, family. And then it just kept growing and growing from there. And I just kept expanding and expanding. And so DTL Productions was formed during the pandemic when we were all, stuck in the house. And I
Mm.
just been running with it ever since, working on 2 additional novels, working on Let's Talk, and just really want to get the word out to lift spirits, because there's so many people contemplating suicide, depression. They've had the loss of loved ones, and
Mhm.
it's really, really tough out there. So I told God, this is my way of giving back, from all that you blessed me with having a successful career. I want to give back.
Mhm.
Um, because I almost died. I had a heart attack after having my son and I almost died.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. I'm so
absolutely.
sorry about that.
Yes. So when that happened to me, I said,
Right.
Lord, I want to devote my all to you, to helping other
Mm.
women, to helping other people. And so that's where the podcast comes from. And the books actually are written in, like I said, it's a worldly view, but once you get to reading, you say, wait a minute, I'm reading a Christian book. You don't even realize
Mm.
it.
Yeah.
So my journey has been unique.
Yeah, I think COVID changed a lot of people's, perspective on life. Some people went into business. I believe a lot of people went into business during COVID season. And I think those that had the brick and mortar businesses, they kind of, some of them folded and some of them decided to pivot. And I think that's important to understand is because sometimes in pivoting, people think you have to change your whole blueprint. And you don't
Hmm.
necessarily have to change your blueprint. You just change how you show up, right?
Yes.
And if you don't know how to pivot when things begin to shift and change, you're going to be lost in the curve, right? You're going to
Mhm.
be your business is going to go under, your family's going to suffer as a result of it. So I am excited to know because me, that's when I started my podcast is during the COVID season too. I was like literally, just was like, I'm just gonna do it. I was already nervous and was like, okay, I'm gonna just go jump out and do it. And I didn't know. I mean, half the time, if you look at the earlier clips of my podcast, I mean, I was getting cut off. My signal was bad. It really took faith to really keep pushing. So I really enjoy hearing other people during that same time that say, "Hey, I was doing this, and we were on two totally separate parts of the world." So I'm really excited to see that you had the courage because it does take courage to run a
Yes.
podcast. I mean, writing a book is, it has its challenges, but with guidance and patience and time, you can get through it because you can take your time writing it. But when you're out there
Ooh.
live talking to
Yes.
people, expressing your thoughts, being objective in today's
Mhm.
world, it's you always literally I know you have the hot what is the hot topics on your
Yes.
thing. It's like
Yes.
being in a hot seat
Right.
because you're in a position to always go against the odds or talk about things that maybe people don't really like talking about, or they like hearing it but they don't like talking about it, right?
Yep.
So I'm really excited. So tell me a little bit more. I know you're married. I met
Mhm.
your husband Mark. He's amazing.
Oh.
Talk to me about your life in terms of what caused you to want to inspire, because I know that, being on your podcast, you are really big on making sure that you have tools and resources for everyone that are watching, which is why you have so many different types of people on your podcast. I really like that you're very versatile in the type of people that you bring in. So even though your
Mhm.
brother may have spearheaded it, it was like sometimes God has to use people to push you to get
Yes.
out there and do it. Because if not, not a lot of people want to get out and talk, and
Mm-mm.
especially on instead of because on social media you have like depending on your group or your page you can be talking in the midst of thousands of people,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
on just my becoming a woman of Proverbs page alone is like 7,000 people. So it's like, when you calculate all the viewership from it's a lot of people to
Yeah.
really be inspiring every day. So I can only imagine what that was like for you.
Oh my gosh. My undergraduate degree is in producing, directing, writing, all of that good stuff. So I
Nice.
went to school to be behind the camera, right? Because some people
Mm.
don't believe it, but I'm kind of shy. And oh my gosh, I do not like being in front of the camera. I know that is so hard to believe, but I don't. I prefer to be behind the scenes. So, doing the podcast, it's like, oh my gosh, as you probably know, Nadira, you got to make sure your hair is right, your makeup's right, your this is right. And my
Mm.
biggest fear is somebody's looking at me, critiquing me, right?
Yep. Yep.
So what I do is I literally just pray and say, Lord, use me, speak through me to
Yes.
touch someone, to help someone. And that
Yes.
it's not about me or my lipstick or my hair color, but
Yes.
speak through me, Lord. This is
Yes.
my way of giving back. I look at it as a form of a ministry.
Yes.
Um, because like you said, you can have so many people looking at you and questioning different things. And so I just try to put God in the forefront and ask him to lead me.
Mhm.
Obviously I look at social media and I try to
Mhm.
see what's going on out there. And as you
Yeah.
know, right now we've got the SNAP benefits are cut off.
Yeah.
You've got
Yeah.
people out of work. It's all kind of craziness. So I try to speak to that. And hey
Yeah.
guys, listen, if you think you're going to be laid off, get ready now, right? Get your
Mhm.
resume beefed up. I just try to speak to that and keep them pushing and going, because you're right. It can be overwhelming. Sometimes I try not to look at the numbers, because if I do, I'll go, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, it's a blessing, but just try to remember to just that I can be touching someone. In fact, I get messages all the time from people in my inbox saying, "Oh my gosh," one young lady said I was about to commit suicide, and I was
Ah,
like, "Oh my God, praise God, she did
yeah,
it."
yeah.
Um, my journey has been unique. Going back to inspire, my first marriage, it was very difficult. I went through a lot of emotional abuse,
Mm,
and it took a lot for me to just get up and literally grab my kids. They were little kids at the time. Grab
mm,
my kids and walk out the door. Satan was telling me, "Oh, you're not gonna find nobody who's gonna want you with heart, issues and two kids." But in the other hand, God was saying, "I got you. Believe in me. Believe in
mm,
me." So I
mm,
literally up and got a house for my kids. I left my home that we had built. I left everything and grabbed my kids and we left. And I
yeah.
remember one of my relatives said, "You're in Atlanta. It's going to be hard to find a man." And I said, "You know what? It's not about a
Mm,
man. It's about me having my peace, about my
mhm,
kids growing up in a healthy environment." And do
mhm,
you know that when I left, I wasn't focused on that. A
mhm,
friend of mine called me up and he said, I had been sharing with him but things about my divorce, and he said, I know somebody going through something similar." And I said, "Oh," I said,
wow.
"Well, I'm not looking to date anybody. I don't want to date." He said, "No, I think you should talk to him just so you have somebody to bounce things off of because he's going through the same thing."
Mm.
So I was like, "Oh my gosh, I don't really want to deal with anyone." But as a favor to my friend, I called this gentleman and he didn't pick up, and I was so relieved, Nadira. I was like, "Thank you, Jesus. I'm so glad he didn't pick up." So I left a message and I said, "This is Dree. I'm just calling you because such and such asked me to call you." And that was it. Click. I was like, "Oh, thank you, Jesus." so he so he called me literally like as soon as I hung up. I said, "Who's this calling me?" So I answered. And he said, "Oh, so you was just calling me for a friend." And I was like, who is this?" And he told me his name. He says, "This is Mark." And he went on to say, "I totally understand how you feel. I'm not looking for
Mm.
anything either." And do you know that one conversation, Adira, turned into a 2-hour conversation?
Wow.
And we talked literally every day for hours on end on the phone. And then one day
Mm,
he just said, "You know what? You
mm.
want to just go and grab something to eat?" And I was like, "Oh, Lord."
Gotta come out of my comfort zone. Oh gosh.
Right, I know. It's a long story short, we dated and I had these books, these binders. They were my books in binders, just literally sitting on a shelf.
Mhm.
And he said, "What are these?" He came over to my house and he said, "Well, what are these things right here?" I said, "These are books I've written years ago." And it was a form of therapy for me when I was going through all I went through in my marriage. And he said, "Wow." He said, "You should publish these." And I said, "No." I said,
Mm.
"Nobody's going to even look at me." He said, "You should self-publish." And I said, "No." And so long story short, he just really talked me into it. 2 years later, we got married. And do you know, I
Oh,
self-published. Yes, God is good.
wow.
God is good. And I was able to self-publish the books. And from there, it's just history. And he has been so supportive of my dreams, my aspirations.
Mm.
Even when I told him I was retiring at 49 years old, he looked at me like,
Mm.
"Oh, okay."
Men think of the logical part of it, like, how we gonna do that?
Right, exactly. I literally stepped out on faith. And so whenever
Yeah.
I go live, I always say, "Thank you, babe, for your love and support," because he helps me with the
Mm.
podcast. He's
Nice.
supportive. He is a good sounding board. He'll if
Yeah.
something's crazy, he'll say, yeah, maybe, he's there. So
Mhm.
God is good. Every marriage, you may have some issues here and there, but for the most part, our marriage is awesome. He's a great guy, and I thank God for him every day. And
Mm.
any lady that's listening to this show, whether you're 49, 50, or whatever age
Mhm.
you are, I
Mhm.
believe if you step out on faith, you put your faith in God, He will carry you through no matter what. No matter what.
Mhm.
Even when, the naysayers say, "Oh, you can't do that." What? You gonna
Mhm.
do a podcast and books and get
Mhm.
remarried and what? Yeah. God will
Yeah.
carry you through it. He will.
Absolutely. I think I heard this saying a long time ago, and it stands to repeating. And it said marriage is for mature people, and it's not about two perfect people. It's about two people that are always forgiving. And I think that is key to when you're, me being, I was married twice too. One of the things that I've learned is that you have to be in a position, because nobody's perfect, right? We're
Right.
going to always have issues and things that we're going to disagree because we're two different people, right?
Mhm.
And becoming one is a process. It is a process, and you have to learn each other, learn what person wants to do, what they don't like, and what they do like. And I think as you're going through the process and you're in that mindset, because God forgives us, right? We don't
Yes.
always do everything right, and sometimes we forget that the same grace that's available to us is available to them, right?
Yep.
And so we like to talk about grace, other people having grace, but we need to have grace. For the same grace that's available to them is available to you too. And the same way, vice versa. So I think it takes maturity, it takes growth in the ability and humility. Because who wants
Mhm.
to admit when they're wrong, right? Nobody
Yes.
wants to be able to admit when they're wrong, but I understand what it's like to be able to, but like I said, you have to. It involves two mature people, because you have to always be in a position. You're in a partnership, so you have to learn
Absolutely.
how to work together. It's a blessing that he's there. Mark is amazing. He is funny. You guys are so cute together. I love watching y'all darn skating. I'm like, look at them. And
Oh.
watching y'all skate and stuff, and just watching you there to support him and him there to support you and what you both love to do is amazing. And it's really like encouraging. It's like, okay, hashtag goals. I love it. I love it. And being an author, man, 5 books. It's amazing to have a partner that sees the potential that's on the inside of you and say, hey, don't just lay this, because that's what happens when you're in partnership. You're supposed to push each other, and
Absolutely.
inspire each other to do what God has called you to do. And if you've had all those books sitting there,
Mhm.
God knew who you needed to be able to say, hey, get those
Girl.
books done. Because somebody's life, I tell my girlfriend this all the time. I say, look, you got all these books on the inside of you. When you don't write those books, you delay somebody else's process of
Ooh.
deliverance. And God, he'll use somebody else, but then you will still be accountable for what God has given you, right? So I
Yeah.
try to make sure, I just got finished another book that I just did too, 31 Days of Wisdom, teaching
Mm.
women wisdom in different areas of their life. It's a journal and a devotional. And when I start getting to the point where I start getting like, I'd be like, oh man, I can't relax. I got to get this done. I got to get this done, because if I don't, then somebody's deliverance is depending on me being obedient to
Mhm.
what God has called me to do. So I look at it as I'm going to be accountable for this if I don't do this. So it's amazing that, you have a partner that's there to say, come on, let's get this done. Let's get these books done. That
Yes.
is amazing. So when you
Yes.
said you retired early,
Mhm. Mhm.
you just quit your job and just say, hey, or did you just kind of like, how did that process work for you? Did you just have
Mhm.
investments and say, hey, look, this is what I'm going to do, I've got money set to the side and I'm going to do this? Talk to us, some women who might be in the 9 to 5 and want to be able to be retire early.
Absolutely. So, I had worked for one company because I came during the time where you stay with one company, you're loyal to one company, all this jumping around, So
Mhm.
now
Yeah.
it's different, of course. Now, people are moving around, but I was with one company for almost 30 years, pretty much
Oh
30 years.
wow.
And I moved 5 times, 5 different states, dragging my babies or, from state to state. And so I did have a 401k. And when
Mhm.
I hired into General Motors, there was a pension plan for us. But
Mhm.
in 2009, they had the bailout from President Obama. And so the pension plan went away. So I had a
Mhm.
combination of a little bit of a pension, and then I had some 401k. And so I told my husband at the time, I said, listen, I'm going to retire, but I'm going to get another job, right? I'm
Mhm.
going to retire. And General Motors had a program where you could retire, but your benefits, those pension benefits didn't kick in until age, I think it was 52 or something like that, or
Mhm.
55. I can't remember the number, but I said, I'm going to retire and get a job because I know I don't have any medical or health benefits. So he said, okay, well, if you got it mapped out, I trust you. I believe you. I stepped out on faith, literally. Now, Nadira, this is where it gets crazy. I stepped out on faith, and honey, the COVID pandemic kicked in.
Oh boy.
And I was like, God, did I hear you right? Wait a minute. I could have sworn you told me. I could have sworn you said. So, unfortunately, I had another job with another company, but when COVID kicked in, last one in, first one out, I was like, go, and it was devastating. And I
Yeah.
remember walking around the house. This is when everybody literally was shelter in place, and I remember walking around so discouraged, and I was like, Lord, I
Mm,
don't understand. I listened to you, I prayed you, I fast. I could have sworn you told me to do this, God. Why would you do this to me? Because I didn't have anything coming in. So, because I was still too young, and I was like, this is not good, God. And so finally, I was talking to one of my good girlfriends, and she said, you know what you need to do? You need to sit down. Just sit
mm,
down. And I know
mhm,
you and I were talking about this too, Nadir.
mhm,
Just
mhm.
sit down and listen. Just
Listen.
listen. And I
Mhm.
did. I shut everything off, TV, radio, all that. And I sat down and I listened. And all I could hear him speaking to my spirit over and over and over was trust me, trust me, trust me, trust me.
Mm,
And
mm,
I did, and I literally did that. And so I will say, a little bit longer once the country opened up and things like that, other opportunities came. And so I went to work for those companies, and I just felt like, it's not in my spirit. So
mhm,
long story short, I found opportunities working from home, which
mhm,
allowed me to do my job from home. But then when I'm off work, I'm still right here at my desk, right?
mhm,
Work on my podcast, work on my business, work on getting
mhm,
clients, just grow, grow, grow. So I literally was working around the clock, working on a job from home, and then working to build my brand. And so it's been 5 years now, to the point where that God has truly blessed me. So, to sit here and say, oh, it was rosy. I had all this money in the bank, girl. And I just, no,
yeah,
it was literally stepping out on faith. It really
yeah.
was. So I would share with any woman out there that if their company gives them a buyout, or if you retire, or if you're let go, don't get discouraged. Just keep your faith and pray to God, and He will show you the right way to go. I'm a strong believer that as long as you have faith, He'll show it to you. Now, sometimes you might be like I did, like, Lord, wait a minute, did I hear the right thing? Or was that Satan? I don't know. I was like, wait a minute. But no, but honestly, no, I didn't have no wonderful my plan literally, Nadira, was to retire from GM, which they had the program, but again, no benefits, and to go get another job. And I never knew. And let me share this with you.
Mhm,
So one of the things in my role, I was a district manager. And so it's important for me to share this with your viewers. I was a district manager. And so my job was going in and out of General Motors dealerships, Cadillac, Chevrolet, all of them, right?
mhm,
And
mhm,
my job was going in the fixed operations back in the back where they fix cars and tires. Sometimes I'd have to go back there with technicians, right?
mhm.
And inspect the car, or go on a test drive and give my approval, my authorization, that kind of thing. Do you know? Oh, Jesus, I get goosebumps talking about this. I think when I think back on that, God telling me to retire, when He told me to retire with my heart condition, Adira, right? I have
Mm.
some heart damage from having a heart attack from having a baby.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
doing extremely well now, but had I still been working, talking with technicians in and out of customers' cars, whether I had to test drive it, talking to service managers, what have you, do you know that first strain? Remember that first strain? It was taking people out like that. I
Mhm.
would have died, Nadira, because
Oh my
I had
gosh.
heart disease. And I really believe to this day that was God saying, yes, Drina, retire, sit down, because He knew
Mm,
what was coming. And so when I
mhm.
was questioning Him, saying, but you told me to, He saved my life. And my heart goes out to
Wow.
those that have lost loved ones. I lost family members. But I'm just saying, I think that sometimes when He tells you to do things, you
Mhm.
might think it's for this reason, but really it's for that reason. And you have
Mm.
to be obedient and listen. So to answer your question, no, I didn't have a pot full of money, and I just knew that this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to start another career. Just got tired of moving around. And so my story is very unique, but I do believe me retiring saved my life. I really do.
Wow. I think you said something that was really important, being able to obey whatever God tells you, because instructions go with His leading. When you
Ooh,
don't when you don't obey the voice of God, then it is detrimental. It could shift your entire destiny. And I have I have a similar story, not necessarily in terms of COVID. I remember weeks, maybe months before COVID, and I knew this was God. Months before COVID, I started just changing things in terms of my diet. It just came out of nowhere. And it's like I was being led to do different things, eat different things, and taking different supplements out of nowhere. Like I had no desire to do this. And I felt led to go down that direction. So when I had COVID, I literally recovered quickly, and so when I look back, I was like, wow, like if I would have not obeyed, I was being led. And then when I was looking at some of the things that I was that I was eating and taking, I was like, wow, I didn't even realize that the Lord was leading me in that direction. And I started to realize early on how important it is to really, if God tell you to do something, if you struggle with clarity and hearing his voice, then that's an issue with staying connected with God, because the times when we don't know how to hear God's voice in a particular situation, that can be fixed through prayer. It can be fixed through, spending time with the Lord, spending time in the word. And oftentimes, I still go through those moments where I'm like, okay, God, help me in this season of my life, because I am an entrepreneur, and though I do things, I do side gigs and different things like that. But for the most part, this is a faith journey for me. I've been an entrepreneur since 2013,
Wow.
and I've literally had to walk by faith. When that scripture said the just shall live by faith. Ooh. Yeah, that is definitely me, because with me having children, I've had to readjust my entire life. So I understand, as mothers, it's like you always thinking about your children. So you're always thinking, I got to get out and hustle. And I realized that God showed me this like 2 years ago. And he woke me up and he was like, focus on purpose. And I realized when I started to, and I was like, what is that supposed to mean? Like that's what, okay, like on what? I know how to do. I have many talents, many gifts. Focus on what? And he was beginning to show me through, my time with him, showing me that in the world, they tell you to go after your goals and your dreams, and you go do that first. Then when you get settled, then you go after God, right? But what he was showing me is, no, in the kingdom of God, you seek him first. You pursue righteousness first, and then everything you need is added to you, right? But that added doesn't mean that people are always giving stuff put in your hand. It just means that God opens up doors for you where you may have not been able to have that door open. God may use somebody to bless you. He may open up a door. If you have a business, he might open up a door and give you a client. But that takes faith, because going after God first seems like, well, what am I do for this? I got to do stuff practically too. But the reality is, when you go after kingdom and you do things his way first, he's already have things aligned up where you're thinking like, how I'm going to do this and how I'm going to do that. And God, and that's like, and this is years of me, because let me tell you something. One thing about Nadira, okay? Nadira gonna make it happen, right? I know how to get out there and hustle I know how to hustle up a hustle, okay? But this was a faith journey for me to hear God say, you're raising children, you're raising small children, and started to remind me they're going to be small for a moment, right?
Yes.
And how and what you impart into them in this early season of their life is going to shape them as adults. So that was like the thing for me, like, okay, I've got to do this, and I've got to put more emphasis on raising my children, following God, because he's going to balance everything out. And he did. So I definitely understand exactly what you're talking about. But we're going to go through a quick commercial real quick, because I know we only have an hour, and I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear about your podcast and all the other things that you're doing. So we're going to be right back after this.
Step in the circle, queens rise and glow. We talk truth, let the inner light show. Real ones link, we ain't moving alone. Faith, fire, purpose, built in the bone. Mind on mission, heart stay aligned. Sisterhood strong, power redesign. Checking in weekly, spirit refined. We break through the noise, wisdom divine.
Check in, tap into light. God in the middle, we fight the good fight. No mask, no shame, come as you are. ain't just talk, we walk with the word. Faith in motion, fly like a bird. Healing in a rhythm, truth in a beat.
I see you carrying everyone else's burdens while your own heart is breaking. Don't Die in the Storm isn't just a book. It's permission to put yourself first.
I felt lost when I lost my loved one. I felt hopeless and didn't know where else to turn. I felt numb because of the pain. I didn't want to talk to anyone.
Hey, I want to take a quick break in the podcast to share with you some amazing products from Mary Ruth. Mary Ruth I've learned about Mary Ruth sometime last year, and I love her products. Their products are all natural and they have a great taste. And I'm telling you, this stuff is amazing. So I have the magnesium calm, which is for bones aching. If you have achy bones, or you can use this for your achy bones. It has an almond vanilla flavor. Doesn't taste the best, but it does the work, right? And I also use the Mary Ruth multivitamin. It's made with I'm hoping I'm saying this right, lipomasol, which is lipomasol is used to engineer and make sure that the products actually get in your cells. So this stuff is amazing. It's fast acting. You can literally notice the difference immediately. And I also have the Mary Ruth hair growth vitamins. This stuff right here is amazing. I use this in my hair when I was having some hair loss issue. I don't know if it was just because of my age or whatever, but I started experiencing hair loss, and this stuff right here, I started to notice a difference literally within weeks. And I also use it on my daughter's hair. My daughter was having some hair loss issue, and it actually helped tremendously with the growth. So if you're interested in finding out more about the Mary Ruth organic women's vitamins or any of the products she had, make sure you go to the link somewhere in this video and learn so that you can get yours today. Now back to the podcast. All right, and we are back with my special guest, Lett. And Dree, you were sharing with us before the commercial break, was talking about your ability to walk by faith in some of the things that you do. Now your podcast we talked a little bit about it, and just being on your podcast, I love the energy. I love your I like your introduction. I'm like, there she go. I love the uniqueness that you have and your creativity to be able to start this podcast. So tell us a little bit more about your podcast. I know you said your brother spearheaded it, but tell us a little bit more about it for those of you, and then tell us how we can watch it for those that may have not, that don't know you and haven't seen your podcast. Tell us a little bit more about your podcast.
Absolutely. So the podcast follows the narrative of informing, inspiring, and motivating. So my guests that I come on, they fall within those realms, right? So I'll have anything from entrepreneurs to motivate other people who are thinking about becoming entrepreneurs. I'll have authors on there who are thinking about writing a book. I have comedians to kind of make us laugh, clean comedy to make us laugh, just basically any and all walks of life, creed, color, that fall within those realms. We do a What's Hot topic segment that also falls within that realm. So sometimes I may tell you something about a celebrity or something funny or whatever's in the news to kind of keep you in the loop. And sometimes I'll share information that maybe some of my viewers may just didn't know about. Maybe they had heard or not heard, but ultimately it's to inform, inspire, and motivate. We tape twice a month. We used to tape every Friday live. We go live, and we used to tape live shows every single Friday, but that was kind of a little bit overwhelming. It was exciting. I love the love. I was like, oh my goodness. So I tape twice a month, and I literally will have people in my inbox. Okay, who's coming up next, and what's so I get flooded with musicians, people that want to be rappers, singers, whatever.
Mhm.
And me and my team, which is my daughter, my husband, we sit down and we'll go through and we'll, look at all the guests, make sure they fall within those realms. If you don't fall
Yeah.
within those realms, you're cussing or you're negative or you're this and that, we don't have you on. And currently with the political climate, I stay away from politics. Initially, I did delve into politics and
Mhm.
talking about it, but
Mhm.
now I'm staying away from it because now my motto is I'm putting it in God's hands, right?
Yeah.
God's
Yeah.
going to handle it no matter what. So the
Absolutely.
podcast, we tape live. It airs live on Facebook. It also airs live on YouTube, and we upload the recording to Instagram. I'm hoping to get to where you are, Nadir. You're my inspiration.
Oh.
I
Oh.
want to get to where I can show it on all platforms. So
Mhm.
we're working to get there. My goal is to get the majority of my viewers over to YouTube because YouTube is a little bit more lax with what you can do. Yes. And Facebook, they want to police you to death. So
Yeah,
yes.
YouTube has some specifications too, but
Uh,
YouTube is more like for us, that's the real estate you want because
yes.
the videos, they're great on Facebook, they're great on on the other platforms, but YouTube gives you legacy
Yes.
for your podcast, or for any subject you want to talk about because you can always once you become monetized, you can, you'll be monetized for the entire children. That's a legacy you can leave for your children. And not only that, you can just be yourself and you don't have to worry about all there's some things they have stipulations too,
Yeah.
but it's not as vigorous you
Exactly.
know, as Facebook. So yeah, I definitely understand that.
Exactly. And my goal is to get it to a point where I can upload on my website and you can
Mhm.
watch the live show on my website. And so those are the things that we're working on. But I get people all the time saying, I want to come on your show, I want to come on your show. And I love the outpouring, but again, we have to make sure it falls within those realms because
Mm.
there's some other podcasts that cover all kinds of things, and that's
Yeah,
great. No disrespect to them. But
right.
over here, this is what I want to do. I want to encourage
Mhm.
people, inspiring,
Yeah,
put a smile on their face. So that's what we're doing.
absolutely. Because you
Absolutely.
wanna make sure you stay within your niche and make sure you
Mhm.
have to know the type of people you're speaking to,
Yep.
the type of people you're servicing. And I think if you stick with with your core beliefs of what you want the end result of your podcast to be, you know, because that's gonna affect your viewership, whether now or later on down the line, and then is people will be able to identify you and say, "Oh, yeah, we like her podcast addresses this, and that." Because there's hundreds of
Yes.
thousands of videos where everybody
Mhm.
that can buy a 50 or $100 microphone can talk, you
That
know,
part.
but, you know, to be able to have a voice of influence, a voice of conviction, a voice to where you're bringing change and inspiration in other
Mhm.
people's life makes a difference because there's sometimes I'm like, "Ugh, I'll turn on the YouTube. I can't even tell you how many times I turn on the TV. I'll turn on the YouTube in a minute and watch inspiring videos that from people that are clear. If I see a
Yes.
clear niche and I see that they're encouraging and talking about particular, I'll sit there and binge watch all their videos, right?
Yep.
And you want to be able to get to that point too, to where when people look at you, they like, oh yeah, if I'm feeling down, I want to go to
Mhm.
Let's Talk. I want to see who she's talking to. I want to see what type of things because I need to be lifted up. And I think we all have that responsibility to be able to take what God give us and steward it well, but ultimately not just steward it, but to bring him glory in the midst of it. Because he said if he's lifted up, he's going to draw all men, right?
Yes.
Unto
Yes.
himself. So being able to be clear, I love that. Being clear about your vision, whether you have one viewer or 1,000 viewers, being clear on your mission because God has given you a message to address a certain type of people that is
Mhm.
there to help them. So that's amazing That's
It
amazing.
is.
So
It is.
how do we find you on YouTube?
Yes, yes. So on YouTube, in fact, let's see if I'm pointing the right way. Right here
Mhm.
is
Okay.
my QR code. If you scan that QR code, it'll take you to the website, which will show you all the links for
Mhm.
Facebook and on
I love
YouTube.
that.
I'm on Let's Talk with Author Lett on YouTube.
Mhm.
So again, growing the audience over there. Also, I have a business, DTL Productions. So with
Mhm.
DTL Productions, we have been successful with helping other people start their podcasts, showing
Mhm.
them things of how to produce, because my undergraduate degree is in producing, directing, writing. So showing
Nice.
them how to set up a podcast, showing them the graphics,
Mhm.
doing the graphics for them,
Yes.
showing them how to make a show flow.
Mm.
Also, we offer graphics, we do flyers, we do custom business cards because you can go to Vistaprint or wherever and create a business card, but can you create a custom? My
Mm.
husband's club that he belongs to went in and custom made all their business cards, and they absolutely loved it. So we do things like
Wow.
that. Yeah, we also do virtual assistant services. Um, again, if you want to write a book and you need proofreading or editing, we do that. I have
Mhm.
a client who she's having me design her cover of her book. So I
Nice.
do that as well. So, with Detail Productions, my company, and then the podcast, those two keep me busy. And then working some part-time on the side. I'm always running, girl, always running. And somewhere in there, I fit
Don't
in
not understand.
dating.
Just the podcast alone is a lot of work. I
Yes.
spend
Ooh.
all Fridays. I mean, I take Fridays off to just do nothing but production, commercial promos,
Mhm.
and everything like that. And it is a lot, whether you have a guest or not. It is a lot of detailed,
Yes.
minute things that you have to, if you want to give a great production and, where it's aesthetically pleasing and, it
Mhm.
sounds good. Because in the beginning, I'm telling you, I didn't have all the knowledge
Me.
that I have now. And I'm telling you, I showed up, but I stayed with it. There's one time I got so frustrated, I just threw the mic down. I had left my guests on the stage on a broadcast, and my computer, like the internet, just clunked out of nowhere, and I just walked
Oh,
away from the desk. I was like, I'm done. And my son
oh,
said, no, mom, go back in there and you keep going. And I'm like, no,
yeah.
I'm done. Because for like the first
Mhm.
year and a half, it was horrible. This is my 5th year. So,
Mhm. Me
actually
too.
this October, it was like my 5th year. So it was horrific. Like
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
go through all the process. So I just want to encourage anyone that's out there that has a voice and knows what their message is and know what they want to talk about. Don't give up, reach out if you need
Mhm.
help, because it's work, but it's not for the faint at heart. I can
Woo.
say that.
Look, I totally understand. I purposely kept my catalog up on YouTube. You can go to my YouTube library and you'll
Yes.
see the ones where I'm on the kitchen counter and the internet went out and I'm looking like
Oh
so
my
I
gosh.
keep them up so that people can be encouraged to see,
Yes.
wow, she went from this to this. And that, like
Mhm.
you said, you got to keep pushing and you have to surround yourself with people that love you, that's going to push you and say, no, keep going like your son did, keep going,
Yes.
mom. Don't give up. Don't give up. Because it's like you said, somebody out there that
Yes.
may need it, during I think it was last October, I had several women reach out to me and they shared their domestic abuse stories with me. And
Mm.
they said that they love just watching the shows because when they have triggers or they have
Mm.
moments. So, like you said, there's
Mm.
somebody out there, Nadira, that's watching you that might be saying, what is this God stuff all about? You know what I mean? And you can literally touch somebody's heart to get them
Mhm.
saved.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I get a lot of inboxes and just, personal convers where people just come up to me and like, man, your show really encouraged me. It
oh,
blessed me. And I'm like, if I just hear one person, I'm like, oh, I've done what God has called me
yes,
to do. So I definitely understand that. I think that's why I've gone as long as I have, is because I didn't start out with the right equipment, because some people are
right.
afraid to start because they feel like I don't have the equipment. I don't have, all the stuff that
Mhm.
you might have, but that took years
Yes.
to I mean, I was starting with just my phone. I was filming from my phone, as my camera, and I've been with this company for years, right? They should make
Mhm.
they're as much money as I done spent with them, on stuff. But it was just a training ground, and I just didn't give up. And sometimes it takes connecting with other people
Yes.
to be able to say, hey, and not gatekeep and be like, hey, how did you get to this
Mhm.
place? How did you get there? And, and I don't always have guests. Sometimes I have guests and sometimes I don't. And either way, I still, because sometimes there are moments where, God may give me something and I just want to just, encourage and stuff like that. That's why it's called Sisterhood Check-In, because the whole
Yeah.
point is to check in with other women that may not feel like they have the ability or the talent, or the gift to be able to do this. But everybody, when they start out, don't feel confident.
Right.
Confidence comes as a result of competence. The more competent you become, the more confidence you start to have. But you're not going to feel confident in the beginning. You're not going to feel, and if we started in COVID and we're still going,
Ooh, girl.
and just getting better as we go, so that we can be able to help other people and say, hey, look, you can do
Mhm.
this too. So if you guys are interested, her website is here at the bottom, dtlproduct.net. If you need any help with your business needs, she is available to be able to help you. So
And I
before
want to
we
share a story, if you
go
don't
ahead, go
mind,
ahead.
Nadira.
No, not at
Just share
all.
this with your viewers.
Yes.
So I didn't know Nadira. We were at the roller rink and I was sitting down and she came over to me and she said, "You have a podcast." And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "I do too." And the first thing we thought, let me tell you, first thing we thought was, let's collaborate. It was
Yes.
none of this, oh, you mine's better, yours, but no, no, no. The first thing we thought was, let's link up, let's figure this out together, improve together. She was
Mm-hmm.
a guest on my show, I'm a guest on her show. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
we as women have to do, is stick
Absolutely.
together and help
Absolutely.
each other instead of this crab in a
Absolutely.
barrel mentality, is help each other. So I appreciate you, Nadira, so much, because I would have,
Oh,
I truly didn't even, I didn't know you. And you coming to me, it was like a blessing. It was like, oh my
yeah.
God, she's such a
Yeah.
sweetheart.
Because I always look at it as, when I see your podcast, I was like, oh wow, I love that, because I love to see, other women doing their thing. And I'm not a gatekeeper. So I'm like, any way that I can help in any, because, I have a lot of experience in different things too. And so it's really good to be able to get with other people, because you can learn.
Yes.
You can learn from each other and make, no two people has to, even though you can be in the same, and this is what I want you guys to know. You may feel like, I have a podcast that I want to start, but I don't know if there's a whole bunch of people doing a podcast where your voice is unique, right?
Mhm.
And even though you may have multiple podcasters and multiple people doing the exact same thing that you're doing, your voice is unique to your transformation that you bring. So don't get discouraged and look at, because I don't sound like them, or because there's already enough people out there. There's room for you, right? Your
Absolutely.
gift will make room for you. So sometimes you just have to find your voice, and sometimes you don't find it until you've been out there for a little while, right?
Mhm.
Then you start to realize, oh, okay, I realize that this many people are blessed and many people are responding. Just don't give up. Just don't give up,
Right.
because it's going to be challenging, but
And
just don't give up. Like today, I'm still dealing with challenges of internet and computer. That's always going to be present, but you have to just always be able to think quick on your feet,
mhm.
and connect with other people and figure out what they're doing, and figure out how you can add, because I don't think that, God put everything into one person. So we all have
Mhm.
something to contribute to the world. We all have something that we can, that we have to give to help somebody else. So I definitely agree with you with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, definitely. So did you have any final words before we end because I
Um,
know I got 7 minutes, so I'm trying to be considerate of your time. So do you have any, because girl, let me tell you something, Sisterhood Check-In can go on for 2-3 hours. I've had podcast shows that went for 2-3 hours with guests and didn't
Oh.
even realize the time. So I definitely want to be respectful, because I want to be able to invite you back and not have to be like, that girl go too long.
Well, for your viewers, I had a show prior to this one that I did. So my
Yes.
look, my little engine's starting to run out of steam, but
I don't know why. When people say, "Why do you have it so late?" I did it specifically this late because I remember when I was going through in my first marriage and just going through the abuse and going through, I wish I would have had something like this, because at
Yes.
night is when I was going through all the not
Yes.
being able to sleep, not
Mhm.
being able. So during the daytime, I know a lot of people are moving and grinding, but
Mhm.
later in the day, sometimes people are, that's when they're looking, things are quieted, the kids are in the
Yeah.
bed, they're going through their, that space is there, and they're
Mhm.
worrying about how I'm gonna do this. And so I
Mhm.
really like that. I really felt led to do it, that is at this time for those that need it, because I
Yes.
wish I would have had it, because if I would have had it,
Absolutely.
I would have probably, I would have made it. I wouldn't have been as discouraged, or I would have been able. I
Mhm.
was like, I just needed just one. And
Yep.
most of the stuff I saw at night, everybody was disconnecting off by. All I had back then was TBN, praise-a-thon. That was all
Girl,
I had. I
that was
knew when
yep.
10 o'clock was coming. I knew. I was
Yep.
like, oh, 10 o'clock. That was my outage. And just
Yes.
to see the amount of viewership that they had, and for the years that they've had it, from 10 to 12, that was my time to get encouraged. That was my time. Make
Mhm.
sure the kids were in the bed, make sure the kitchen is clean, make sure the house is clean, so I can get, be able to pour into myself. So for those that are able to watch it live, it's amazing. I hope you get what you came here for. But those that can't, that thank God for the replay, right? So you can always go
Girl.
back.
Yes, I think it's an excellent time. You're right, because like you said,
Yeah.
it's time to put the kids away and you can focus in on what you need. I think this is an excellent time to have the show.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, when I meant run out of steam, I just been running all day, getting, like you said, getting ready for
Oh,
the podcast. But
I
the
understand.
yeah, the closing remarks I just want to share with everybody is, no matter what you're going through, whether it's job loss or
Mhm.
it's you lost a loved one, or your benefits have been cut off, what have you, just
Mhm.
I know it seems really hard to believe, but Nadira and another girlfriend of mine, sometimes you got to shut everything off and just get on your knees and just say, Lord, if you don't know how to pray, just say, God, I just need you. And
Mhm.
step on faith on that. Whether you want to start a podcast, a business, no matter, a new relationship, whatever it is, put God first in your life and He will direct. As long as you listen and you shut the world off and you just listen and meditate in that, He will tell you, whether it's through someone that comes and tells you or you see something, He will get word to you that this is what you need to do. And don't ever get discouraged. I was sharing on my show how, the state of the Black woman, how it's all negativity, this, that, and the other. And my hometown, Detroit, Michigan, elected its first female mayor in its 324 history. And she's a Black woman.
Oh,
And so,
wow.
yeah, things like that are just so inspiring. So I would encourage the listeners and viewers out there, just surround yourself with positivity as much as you can, whether it's Nadira's show, my show, TBN, whatever it is, just surround yourself with positivity and stand on faith. Definitely.
Absolutely. And before we leave, I wanted to take the time. I know you guys have been seeing all over Facebook. I have started my very first fragrance line. It's called Oil of Joy. So I'm excited. I am loving the bottle. It has little diamonds on the front of it, like little
Oh,
cubic zirconias on the front. It's gold. It's in a clear gas. It's so beautiful. I
love
love
it.
it. I'm telling you, it's a fragrance oil, so you can use. It's a very soft, elegant scent. It has myrrh and frankincense and different types of scents in there. It's very soft and beautiful, warm for the winter season. So it's definitely coming. It was inspired by Isaiah 61. So it has Isaiah 61 on the bottle. He'll give you the oil of gladness for mourning. And so this was definitely an inspiration for me, because this reminds me of the times that I've had to mourn over, and how in Isaiah 61 it says he'll give you beauty for ashes, right? The oil of joy for mourning. And this is a testament to pretty much my life. That's what he did for me, because of all the stuff that I've had to endure, he truly gave me the oil of joy for mourning, because I had been mourning for so long. So this is a personal, this is really close to me. So if you guys are interested, make sure you go to I'm going to put the link in the website. You can go to my Facebook page and I'll show you how you can get it. You guys, it's the holidays coming up. If you want to bless somebody with a gift and encourage them at the same time, that's one of the things that I'm really big on, is not just creating products and services, but creating books and resources and products that have a message of inspiration, a message that will inspire you. So make sure you go to check my Facebook page, and I'll show you. It has a link on there where you can go ahead and order yours today. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you are watching on the replay, just hit hashtag replay and let me know where you're watching from and how Sisterhood Check-In has blessed you. Dree, thank you so much for joining Sisterhood Check-In. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here. Hope to be able to have you back again. And I pray that God blesses your business and that he continues to bless your family and bless the work of your hands, because you're doing an amazing job inspiring people. So I'll see you at the top.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nadira speaks, her voice carves the air. Proverbs painting pictures, stories laid bare. She moves mountains with the flick of a prayer. Lessons of the word, truth leaves there. Parables weaving through beats that don't stop. Wisdom dripping down like rain on the block. Holy Spirit whispers, hands on the clock. Life lessons knocking, door unlocked. Yeah. Scripture in the veins, running through the flow. Life's foundation, roots that grow. The Spirit moves where the mind can't go. Biblical wisdom, it's all I know.
Rise so high, in the middle we fight the good fight, no mass.